Welcome, welcome, welcome. The Ensemble Theatre welcomes you to our Bold online series. We hope that you have enjoyed some of our previous content, including Message Mondays, Throwback Thursdays, Family Fun Fridays, which kicked us off on our virtual journey. And before I go any further, though, let me make an aside. If you know any young people who are not sitting with you right now, go get them. Call them, text them, tell them to get on Facebook or get on an adult's Facebook to watch the piece that we have for you today titled Never Again. We don't want them to miss it, and we know that everyone watching will be taken on a journey. Now, going back to what I was saying, our ensemble journey has moved us from our weekly presentations to a reading series that included the wonderful yet challenging piece last week written by Celeste Bedford Walker entitled Greenwood, An American Dream Destroyed. That piece was about the destruction of an area in Tulsa, Oklahoma known as the Black Wall Street. Quite an apropos piece set 99 years ago this month, talking about the destruction and devastation that's going on in the world of African American people. We are committed at the Ensemble Theatre to telling our stories, telling the human story, and we will continue doing that with more exciting readings. One coming up is titled Coconut Cake, written by the wonderful Melda Beatty, and it's going to be presented on June 21st. We know that's Father's Day. It's an all-male cast, and even such, it's still a story for all, so we hope that you join us. And then on June 29th, we will have an all-female cast who will be shaking the mess out of misery. So we hope you join us for those. And you can find more information about those on our website at ensemblehouston.com. And you can also find information there about our Young Performers program. So if you have young people that are watching with you or that just cross your mind while you're enjoying this reading today, which will be presented by a cast of all young performers, then we hope that you have your young people who are 6 to 17 join us for one of the 1 week, 2 week, or 3 week classes. We have 15 classes available virtually starting June 15th. We hope that they join us for our Young Performers program. You can go to our ensemblehouston.com website to find more information about readings and all of our online offerings, including the Young Performers program. Now, the reading that will follow, as I mentioned, is titled Never Again, and it's written by and directed by Yunina Barbour-Payne with moving music by Werner, Richmond. Now, as a community, Ms. Payne wants us all to know, we recognize that trauma and grief manifest in many forms. We also recognize that young people have long been at the center of great making things happen in our world. And they have been a part of shifts in our country. In acknowledgement of this truth, we invite you to lean in, to imagine a world where it is from their perspective. Lean in and imagine our world right now from their perspective. Sit back, honor their voices as experts as they present this piece. They are experts of their own experiences. We offer this show today as a space for our community to come and interact with the arts and traditions that have long held and been innovated for many years to present our stories. We invite you to celebrate the power of the art together in the name of justice, healing, and hope. And we certainly hope that as we have a dialogue exchange after today's presentation, we hope that you allow young people in the space with you to be the first to type their thoughts or their questions into the chat. And we will be joined after this presentation by a former young performer, Ms. Danielle King, who will be leading the dialogue exchange. And we want to hear from young people. So encourage them to put their thoughts in the chat. We want to hear from everyone, but we would love to hear what young people are thinking about at this time of protest in our real world, as well as in the piece that you are about to see. With that, the Ensemble Theatre is presenting Never Again. Enjoy.
Never Again by Yunina Barbour-Payne. Cast of characters. Kyle Mosley as Mr. Washington. Jayla McDonald as Gracie. Ariana Ozun as Abigail, Jocelyn Floyd as Mary, Clark Fisher as Fanny, Jessica Kirby as Drea, and Kendall Burns as Jay and Emmanuel. Prologue. We are in a crowd of protesters, perhaps a Black Lives Matter protest. The lawn is flooded. Everyone is on their phones, and phone notifications are going off simultaneously. Emmanuel emerges from the crowd.
I'm Emmanuel. You probably never seen my face or heard my name. I was just another body when the crowd came. I was there, all along, standing in the back of the room, in the hall, standing in the back of the shade. I had tears down my face when they took my friend away. Although I didn't make it on stage or anyone's Facebook page, I was still there, and I still care about people everywhere who've been here. And now they are hurt, or worse, they're gone. Who gets to be the kid? Who gets to be the activist? Who gets to be the witness? I sat right behind them in the classroom. I was the one who caught it all on tape. Moments later, we're all here in a protest. Until I see justice, I won't rest. I'll show my respect. I'll put my absolute best. So this thing doesn't happen ever again. I'm just all a man. Never again. Never again. I'm saying never again. Never again. I ain't crying. Never again. Never again. I'm yelling. Never again. Will I lose, my friend?
Scene 1. We are in Mr. Washington's history classroom. There's a chalkboard at the center. The board reads Movements and Marches. The entire room is well lit with the sun coming in from the windows. There are individual student desks lined in rows. Mr. Washington is perched on a stool at the front of the class. Mr. Washington is in the second part of today's lesson on movements.
All right, so how many of you all plan to ditch on D-Day?
I got things I need to do.
What you gotta do?
Nothing.
That's enough, ladies. Okay, anyone else?
I can't skip. If I miss school, I will just have to come back after school to finish my scholarship applications. So I'd rather just stay and leave like a regular school day.
Ugh, she gets on my nerves.
Hey. All right, not now, okay?
My mama wouldn't let me skip school.
All right, well, what about you, Mary? So you don't have any clue whether you'd rather stay or leave on D-Day?
No.
Well, if you decide to stay, you can stay here with me.
Man, don't nobody want to stay here with you. If I stay anywhere, it's going to be in the gym.
Yeah, y'all do anything in there anyways.
Mr. Washington erases the words movement and from the board and writes children's.
Children's? Why not? It's called D-Day for Senior Ditch Day. Duh.
Well, that may be your understanding, but history will tell us differently.
Here he goes.
On May 2nd, 1963, students probably just like you participated in the D-Day.
Dang, you mean my granny was out there ditching school?
Well, Jay, I don't know too much about your granny. You should ask her, but what I do know is that students in Birmingham, Alabama were out here ditching school. But instead of going to the gym, they decided to do something a little bit better with their time.
Better? Doing what?
They probably went to the mall.
Or they stole like a bunch of cars and went joyriding. That's what I would have done. What?
No, that's not what they did. They protested.
Protested. A waste of a perfectly good day.
Protested what?
One word: injustice. Birmingham, Alabama in 1963. Well, some people say it was probably the most segregated city in the entire South.
I swear, I hate racists.
Police used a white army tank. Most Black people were afraid of the movement.
I ain't afraid of nothing.
Well, if the adults were seen protesting, they would risk losing their jobs. So the leaders of the movement, they decided that they needed to get involved with the young people. They talked about rights and freedom. They started with the football players, the beauty queens, and the majorettes. The students, they were willing to go to jail. D-Day was the day that everybody knew what was going to happen, but all the planning had been a secret. Hundreds and thousands of students from everywhere, even cities outside of Birmingham, they all came and participated and protested in that D-Day. Their job was to risk their lives in jail.
The school bell rings and students start to wrestle with their bags.
Hey, what do I always say?
You dismiss
dismiss
us,
us,
not the bell.
That's right. And you always want to wait for my advice before leaving my room.
Man, come on, Mr. W. What is it today?
Well, if I were bright and burgeoning activists like yourselves, I'd study the Bill of Rights and its amendments because, we should all just know our rights.
That means we got a test coming up.
We got a test? By when?
If it were me, I'd certainly know and be able to recite them in case of an emergency by, let's say, the end of the week.
All right. We got you, Mr. W. Now can we go?
Yes, you may.
Before he finishes his last word, students have rushed out of the classroom and into the halls. Students in the hallway are on their phones. A school alert is heard. Scene 2. We are in the high school hallway and something has just happened. Most of the students are on their phones looking at something that has been posted on social media. We've Got a Job by Carlton Reese plays in the background, and images of police responding to the Children's March are shown. The last image is of a young Audrey Faye Hendricks.
Did you see?
Yeah, my sister was posting about it last night.
I wonder what they gonna do.
Students walk into Mr. Washington's classroom late. Mr. Washington is in the middle of the lesson on the Children's March. A video clip from the Children's March is playing on the screen. The students are taking notes from the board. Some students are taking notes vigorously.
And last, we have a young lady said to have been the youngest participant in that march, Miss Audrey Faye Hendricks.
How long was she in jail?
Audrey stayed in jail until Wednesday, May 8th, when she was released with approximately 500 other children. So when she returned to school the next day, no one asked her about her week in jail. She didn't say anything. She said, I was just one of the kids, as everyone else was. It didn't dawn on me that it was such a big deal.
All I know is if I come back from jail, y'all better ask about me.
Wait a minute. At 8 years old, she went to jail for protesting and it wasn't a big deal?
Shoot, if I went to jail, it would be a big deal.
Hey, Mr. W, I'm gonna go to jail for protesting. You gonna cry for me?
Well, Jay, you gave me plenty of other reasons to cry. All right, folks, y'all got 20 minutes. Y'all know what to do. Now make it happen.
Students continue to take notes. During the next song, they take their papers up to be checked by Mr. Washington. Mary is stuck and having trouble finding what to write.
I watch her on the screen. She's so young. She's unafraid to tell her side of the story. They tell us be quiet. Adults are so scared. Danger and risk everywhere. Why are the kids the ones who must be brave? Why does it feel like history never ends? Kids were the ones who spoke up when they had enough. They didn't give up. So why should I? They try to police us, monitor what we say. They tell us to behave, always be polite, be sure to speak right, shake with firm hands, pull up your pants, think for yourself. They try to tell us who to be and how to live. Why are they scared, living in fear? We stand up. We speak up. We're not quiet. We bring the riot. They stood up. They spoke up. They were not quiet. They brought the riot. Because of them, we can do all that we can. Yes, we can stand. We are not scared. Injustice everywhere, even in the midst of fear. Someone has to care. Courage is bigger than fear. She was not scared. Her courage was bigger than her fears. Because of them, we can stand tall. If not, history can be our greatest lesson. If we just pay attention. Violence won't end unless we make it. We've got to stop it. We've got to end it.
By the song, the students have packed up and left for the day. While Mr. Washington's back is turned, Mary places a note on his desk. She exits. Scene 3. Students are in the library studying for the upcoming history test.
Amendment 1.
Freedom of religion, speech, and the press.
Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abating the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people, peacefully to assemble, the right of the people to petition the government for redress or grievancy. Amendment 2. The right to bear arms.
The right to bear arms, a regulated military.
Militia, but close.
Militia, being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of
the people.
The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. What does that even mean?
That means people can't, or really, they shouldn't be stopped for having guns to take care of them and theirs.
I don't know how I feel about that. Guns are used to hurt people, innocent people.
All I know is I'd rather be living and protected than a victim and not. Feel me?
You're right. The people with the guns are the ones who have the power. True enough.
I guess.
What do you mean you guess? Don't be stupid, Franny. We need guns for protection.
I'm not stupid. I'm just saying they hurt people too. God.
Wait, Fanny, we aren't finished.
Video transition of the Children's March documentary, starting at when President Kennedy saw the photos, it made him sick.
Daddy, I don't want to disobey you.
4. We are in Mr. Washington's classroom. Mary is getting tutoring from Mr. Washington. Mary is reading the letter at the front of the classroom.
Daddy, I don't want to disobey you, but I have made my pledge. If you try to keep me home, I will sneak off. If you think I deserve to be punished for that, I'll just have to take the punishment. I'm not doing this only because I want to be free. I'm also doing it because I want freedom for you and Mama. And I want it to come before you die. Wow, so a kid wrote this?
Yes, ma'am. And why do you think that I had you read it?
To show me the risk. No, to show their courage. Even though it would mean they were risking a lot, they still did it. Like those kids on the news. They didn't like what was happening in their community and how they were being treated, so they started protesting. And the police, they didn't seem to care about their age either. They were spraying their eyes and you could hear them screaming.
And why? Why do you think that the kids, that they did what they did?
Because if they didn't, the same unfair stuff they were experiencing would just keep happening.
Exactly.
My sister's here, so I gotta go. You know, sometimes I think you're the only teacher that even knows them in their classroom.
Mr. Washington is left in the classroom by himself. The teachers are seen in their own classroom sifting through student work. Mr. Washington is reading through papers, watching the video Mary just showed him. The video plays on the screen.
Who gets to be the activist? Who gets to be the witness, the victim, the survivor? Did I have to be 4 feet away? Seeing all those violence, it's messed with my mind. Heard the noise from my classroom. The clock keeps ticking and we're losing time. I watched from across 3 states. You know, I taught the one who caught it all on tape. Who gets to be the victim, the survivor? The violence is spreading far beyond my reach. This content, it's getting harder to teach what this is. Year after year, we gather and protest, hoping that the moment that sparked it won't rest, but somehow it happens over and over, never again. Never again, I'm saying never again, never again. I'm praying, never again, never again. I'm crying, never again, never again. Will I lose a student? Will they be forced into an unexpected end? Will a young person lose their lives? Will they always have to be the ones who pay the price over and over?
Stopped unfairly.
Over and over.
Racial profiling.
Over and over. Not enough consoling for my grieving. Over and over.
We are begging.
Over and over.
Tears keep falling.
Over and over.
Mothers are calling for.
Never again. Never again. And then years later, there we are, standing in the streets wondering what this all was for. We're saying, we're watching, waiting, never, ever again. I'm so tired of crying at home, wondering, wishing we all didn't have to be here. But the hurt is so near, losing those that are just so dear. Because over and over again.
Moments like these make us turn more than the kids.
We are victims, witnesses, and survivors.
Of racism, classism, ageism.
I'm tired of living in all this hatred, and we will keep coming here. And until we don't have to.
Until it's all over.
When will it be over?
By the song's end, the teachers have packed their things and left for the day. Mr. Washington packs his suitcase for the day and exits. Scene 5. The next morning in the school hallway, it is clear overnight something has happened. Students are walking through the hall on their phones.
Hey, put those phones away, folks. Seriously.
3 students come up to Mr. Washington at once.
W, can I talk to you for a moment?
Yeah, sure. What's up?
I just feel like with everything going on, we should do something.
Okay, I'm listening, but I really need you to calm down, Gracie.
I can't just sit by and do nothing. I watched a girl at a protest, and she was there and she was speaking for her friends, and in the middle of her speech, she just stopped. And I think people thought that she was struggling to get through her speech, but that she was struggling to stay strong, that she was struggling to keep it together. She waited for 6 minutes, and the crowd was hollering and encouraging her, and it seemed like those 6 minutes lasted forever, but it was only 6 minutes.
She said all it took was 6 minutes for her world to change. 6 minutes for the school to be rearranged. All it took was 6 minutes. All it took was 6 minutes. 6 minutes never took so long.
I see all these things in the media. I see my friends posting, and I'm wondering, why do these kinds of things happen in our world? Why do they happen in our world? I just need to feel safe and protected. I watched a girl on the news today. She said all it took was 6 minutes for her whole world to change. 6 minutes for the whole school to change. 6 minutes, that quick. How can this be the world we live in? We got to do something. Do something. I just keep thinking, all it took was 6 minutes.
Gracie and Mr. Washington make their way into Mr. Washington's classroom.
I just kept thinking after her speech was done, I would have been so mad that they couldn't even wait for 6 freaking minutes to honor those that lost their lives. They couldn't shut up for 6 minutes. What do we do? What do we do, Mr. Washington? We have to do something.
Jay storms into Mr. Washington's classroom in his version of protest. Video clips of the Black Lives Matter protests play.
Tired of this. You talking about learning about this? Man, I'm living it. It's everywhere. It's on my Twitter feed. It's on Snapchat. It's on the news. It's on my way home on the bus.
All right, I'm gonna need you to calm down, son.
Calm down? Just last week, they drugged my cousin from a pool. And you want me to calm down? Just like they drugged them kids during the Children's March. They drugged her, Mr. W. And the worst thing is, I couldn't do nothing. They held her and held me like if I did anything to be mean too. They held her on the ground. And for what? Because they thought she was a threat? Like they thought them kids were a threat? Mr. W, I ain't no threat. But if I feel like making me into one, all right, cool. Then I'll be one. Ooh, I'm just so tired of this.
Jay runs into the hall. Mr. Washington chases him.
Remember this? This is an image of a person being harmed by a person in authority. This is why we can't wait. Because it ain't the first time people like us have to encounter a kind of hate like this and have to be the ones to do something about it.
Mr. Washington follows Jay out.
Hey, Mr.
Hey, not now, Abigail. Sorry.
Ma'am, that wasn't right.
That's what I told the teacher. I was like, hey, yo, that's not right. Hey, that's not right. He kept telling me to shut my mouth, but I didn't shut it. Like, you know, I feel like I had to do something, you know? Like, if that were my little sister, I would want somebody to say something too.
Right, that's real.
So, what you do?
I just kept yelling, hey, that's not right. And the whole time I had my phone in my hand, you know, like a weapon. And I'm recording everything they're saying and doing to her. And then I'm like looking at her. Then I'm looking at my phone. And then I'm just like, hold up. I'm not doing nothing. Like, I'm just standing there holding the stupid phone. So I dropped my phone and I went over to her. And they arrested us both.
What were you thinking?
I was thinking, yo, my mama gonna kill me if I go to jail.
A school safety alert is heard, followed by Abigail's phone notification. Her notification is followed by a swarm of notifications. The focus shifts from Abigail's one phone to many phones going off. Students flood the stage from all sides and participate in a cell phone passing protest kind of dance.
She said all it took was 6 minutes for her world to change. 6 minutes for schools to be rearranged. All it took was 6 minutes. All it took was 6 minutes. 6 minutes Never took so long.
Blackout. Scene 6. Jay appears alone in protest. He is holding a sign that says hashtag Black Lives Matter, and he is speaking through loudspeaker.
Dear America, what we are basically asking is for African Americans to be treated by the police with respect, diligence, and safety that is so often to be heavily armed by white massacres. We are asking for law enforcement to constantly shoot and kill countless white men who murdered scores of innocent people, only to be peacefully taken into custody. We are simply asking that you treat African Americans more like the absolute white men that this nation can possibly offer. It sounds outrageous, but yet that's our request, and it's still denied.
A gunshot is heard. Students flood the stage.
Is that Jay?
It's Jay. Yeah, I think it's Jay.
They got him.
Who?
Yeah, he didn't seem right.
We have to do something.
The phone notifications alert simultaneously, this time louder. The sounds of notification incite protest and a dance of sorts. By the end of the dance, the students are joined in a march singing "We Shall Overcome." Over the singing, the following dialogue is heard.
How to buy a gun in America. 1, pass an instant background check that considers criminal convictions, domestic violence, immigration status. 2, buy a gun.
How to buy a gun in Japan. 1, take a firearm class and pass a written exam, which can take up to 3 times a year. 2, get a doctor's note saying you are mentally fit and do not have history of drug abuse. 3, apply for a permit to take a firing training, which may take up to a month. 4, describe a police interview why you need a gun. 5, pass a review of criminal history, gun possession records, employment, involvement with organized crime groups, personal debt, and relationships with family, friends, and neighbors. 6, apply for a gunpowder permit. 7,
There's more.
take a 1-day training class and pass a firing test. 8,
There's more.
obtain a certificate from a gun dealer describing the gun you want. 9,
There's more.
if you want a hunting license, apply for a hunting license. 10,
There's more.
buy a gun safe and ammunition locker that meets safety regulations. 11,
There's more.
allow the police to inspect your gun storage. 12,
There's
more.
allow the police to inspect your stuff again. 13,
There's
more.
buy a gun.
Abigail consoles Fanny, who is visibly distraught by the facts. Gracie takes the podium.
There's a shameful and untold story of abuse in this country. It is an abuse of power. We are here today to shift the focus. We focus on life, not death. When we focus on life, we focus on the opportunity to realize what we really need. We need more counselors. We need school supplies and more listening ears. We need quality time. We need understanding. We need love. We need more patience from our parents, teachers, and administrators. We need to be able to just be kids. We need protection, comfort, and fun. We need life. We need to live.
We all have the right to live safely in America, to live in a world where we don't run the risk of getting shot. End violence, no more silence. End violence, no more silence.
The crowd of protesters join in the chant. As the chant continues, a news reporter and cameraman enter.
Hello there. This is Nancy Whitewater with WZRB News, and I am here at the march. Tom, I have to tell you, there are so many young people here for so many reasons. Young man, Tell me, what brought you here today?
We are here for 3 important reasons. Number 1, what they will not do is ignore Black voices. Number 2, what they will be sure to do is to include our agenda in the agenda for gun control. When we talk about legislative issues and solutions for gun violence, it has to include the intersections of Black violence. That means guns. That means violence in schools. That means our teachers. That means police. That means brutality. That means state violence. It has to include all that stuff. It's not just about white people in school shootings in the classroom. They kill us in churches. They kill us in the streets. They kill us in the car. When we're traveling in our own homes, they kill us in the classroom. This is about all these young Black people. I want you to look behind you. We're here to organize, represent, and show power.
He holds up his fists. As he does, he sees Drea and leaves the interview to go talk to her.
Excuse me? How are you feeling, sis?
Hey Jay, I'm tired.
As she sings, more students have joined the march. Mary, Jay, Abigail, and Fanny join in the song with her. At the song's end, all students are joined together in a protest, holding up signs for various causes connected to violence and social injustice. Historical images and present-day protest images are displayed, and some students' final pose include their phones in hand. Lights fade. Epilogue. Everyone has left the march, and Emmanuel is there sitting by himself in the back.
Hey, it's me. I bet you forgot. It's cool. Everyone does. I guess it's because I wasn't center stage or on your Facebook page. But I was there, and I still care about people every day. The reoccurrences. 9 weeks after Parkland, there were 17 reported school shootings. Just 3 weeks after the march for our live protest on March 24th, a student shot another student with a BB gun in Gloverville, New York. Just this week, another person of color mistreated by a person in Georgia. So much for never again. Man, will it ever end? Who gets to be the kid? Who gets to be the activist, the witness, the survivor? When will it all be over and done? I was the one who caught it all on tape. Until I see justice, my pen won't rest. So this thing doesn't happen ever again. I'm putting it down, putting you to the test. What are you doing to support never again? They pleading, we gotta do something. Or this wasn't for nothing. We can't keep singing, keep on crying, keep on yelling. Feels like history never ends.
Blackout. The end.
All right, thank you everyone for attending the Never Again reading. Thank you to our actors. Round of applause. You guys did amazing. Congratulations on your work. I also want to thank the Ensemble Theatre with our Bold Reading series for giving these young people an opportunity to let their voices be heard. Okay, so I have to read a couple of announcements before we get started with our talkback, but I do want to say that the intention of this talkback is to give these young people a safe space in order to let their voices be heard on the subjects of racial injustice, on the subjects of police brutality, and gun violence. So I will be taking questions from the audience who have watched the reading. So if you all would like to comment your questions right now, I will be reading off of them from the Facebook Live feed. I will also be asking them some questions myself, but we do want to give the opportunity for young people to ask questions so that they can dialogue with the actors. So they have a space in order to do that here. Okay, I also need to say that there is a video viewing of the play Green Book. It'll be June 14th through the 28th. And if you want any more information about that, please look on the Ensemble's website or their Facebook page at the Ensemble Theatre Houston for more information on the Green Book viewing. Okay, so let's get started then. Hi, everyone. How are you feeling after that?
Good. Relief.
Good, great. That's awesome. So I'll introduce myself. I am Danielle King. I am a former young performer. Like Miss Rachel said, I was a young performer for 10 plus years, and I loved every moment of it. I went to school in the Houston area, went on to Howard University, where I graduated in acting. And I now work in the New York area as a casting assistant and producing assistant. So that's a little bit about me. I would like you actors to go around saying your first and last name, what school you attend, and your character name. Emmanuel, if you want to start.
My name is Kendall. I attend Gregory Lincoln Education Center Middle School, and my character is Jay Manuel.
I'll go next. My name's Clark Fisher. I go to Bel Air High School and I play Fanny.
Hi, my name is Jessica Kirby, and I go to Hightower High School, and my character name was Drea.
Hi, I'm Kyle Mosley. I go to HSPVA, and I played Mr. Washington.
My name is Jocelyn Floyd. I go to Dobie High School, and I played Mary.
Hello, I am Jayla McDonald. I am reading for the role of Gracie, and I will be attending HSPVA.
Hi, my name is Ariana Ozan. I played the role of Abigail, and I will be attending Shadow Creek High School.
Okay, thank you so much. So we're gonna start off with an exercise, and then I'll take some questions from the Facebook Live feed. So I'm gonna ask a series of questions, and just raise your hand if you identify with the question that I asked. So to get started, raise your hand if you identify as a Black American. Raise your hand if you have ever participated in a school shooting drill. Raise your hand if you have ever been afraid of a shooting actually happening at your school. Raise your hand if you have ever experienced or seen a loved one experience racial injustice or racism. Raise your hand if you or a loved one has experienced police brutality. Raise your hand if you have participated in any type of protest. Raise your hand if you feel your Black life matters. Awesome. Okay, so we're gonna start off. So we have a question from Eugene Hughes, and his daughter Selena wants to know if you were the young lady, who was the young lady that the actors spoke about in the 6-minute skit? So maybe Jayla, you would like to tell us about that young lady's name or like where that incident happened or took place?
So during the 6-minute skit, Audrey Faye. She was one of the youngest that were recorded to be protesting, and she went to jail when she was 8 years old, if I'm not mistaken. And when she came back, it was such a normalized thing that happened back then for children to go to jail, that when she was 8 years old, she didn't think that it was a big deal for her to be going to jail at that age, which now it seems like it's something that would never happen, but back then it was most definitely something that was normalized. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you. We have another question from Miss Andrea Mosley, and she would like to know, how do you feel Never Again parallels with the universal response to George Floyd's murder?
I kind of feel like it's very important that we're doing this production right now, because it is a direct parallel to what's going on outside. We're seeing African American men and women killed in their homes and in the streets, and no justice was given to them. And the show is bringing that issue to light even more than it already has been. So it's very important that we're doing this, and it shows that direct parallel. So, yeah.
Several of you spoke up. More than one person can answer this question if you would like.
Oh, okay. I feel that with the show, I think it brings it down a bit much for the understanding for the kids of our generation. I know, like, I feel that I've heard that from some of my friends that, like, the news, they get it, but they don't get it. So, like, I feel like the show brings that out more to the teens to let them know, hey, this is real, this is happening. We gotta speak up, we gotta stand up.
Excellent. So for another question, what are some of the ways young people can exercise their activism if they cannot participate in a march or a demonstration?
I think that there are a lot of petitions that young people can sign if they can't go out and protest, and they can spread those petitions and they can help educate the people who are protesting about ways to keep themselves safe and different things to do. So I think educating people and signing petitions is probably the best way that they can help without going to protests.
I think another way is using your voice. Since now that we have social media, we have very different websites that we can use to help spread it, even though we're not able to physically go.
Awesome. We have another question from our audience. Elizabeth Grant would like to know, what would you have done differently if you could have performed this together on stage, even though you guys mended beautifully on Zoom, which is not an easy task. So congratulations to you all.
I think we would have had more time to talk about our feelings about what this play stands for. We would have definitely had more conversations about everything surrounding this play, everything going on, activism at our age.
I think that what we could have done differently if we was doing it like together is that we could have showed like even more emotions. Like our face was really good in emotion, but like body language and storming off, or like, you know, different aspects of different body language could have like even made the word even bigger.
I think because when we're together, we will be able to show more of the story than I think we would on camera, because it would just mean a lot to us, because we would actually step into the character's shoes and in the movement and their thought process. So that's what I think that we would have done differently.
I believe that us being all in the same space, and we would be able to feed off of each other's energy more. and we would be able to come together to create a high energy piece.
I feel that we would have been able to create dances more and added choreography to some of the songs that we were singing, like 6 minutes, like a lot of the spoken words that we were saying and stuff like that.
I have one more question from the audience. Let's see, there was a good one earlier. Oh yes, Tanisha McDonald asks, can you share an experience where you participated in a protest and why it was important for you to participate?
I can share one from recently. Just the other day, I went to a protest to where we went from my city's county courthouse down to our city hall. Very peaceful, and it was very important to me because of how peaceful it was, and I felt good that I was able to actually stand up, fight injustice, and stand up for what I believe in with people around me without there being violence and rioting, and people honestly just showing love for the family and being able to do the right thing. So that was the protest I went to, and it was the most impactful one that I've experienced in my life.
My family and I, on actually Friday, we went to protest on the bridges downtown, and we made signs, and people were coming up to us and giving us like water and things, and they were being like, thank you so much for doing this for us, because we definitely need a voice. And there were people that were driving by the bridge that were honking and putting their fists out the window to show that they were supporting us. So yeah, that was my experience protesting.
I just went to a protest on the other. It was really very emotional. It was like an emotional connection for me because I felt that hearing so many stories. Oh yeah, I was in class when Dr. King was shot. Oh yeah, I did go to Washington. Oh yeah, this. Oh yeah, that. It's like to finally be able to sit in that spot, to feel that emotion that everybody else felt when protesting. It kind of clicks in your mind. Okay, this is really happening. Like, you know, it was really fun for me. Very experiencing.
I'm really happy that you guys were able to experience. Sounds like a lot of you participated on Tuesday of last week. I was also there protesting, marching to City Hall. So I was right there with you all. 60,000 Houstonians were there. And that's amazing. And I feel like our voices were heard because the next day, the other 3 officers who were involved in the George Floyd case were arrested, and their charges were up. So that's amazing. Your voices were heard, and we will continue to protest because there are so many more cases. So our last question comes from the playwright. Need to pull it up. Yes, our last question comes from the playwright, and it reads, each young person was able to create their own protest sign for a prop in the show, in addition to the Never Again sign. Can you show us your original sign and talk about why you chose your message?
Well, I wrote "End Violence, No More Silence" because I say it, and it is what happens today. It's because people keep getting killed almost every day, and nothing's ever said about it, and we have to hear it later, after like months or years after it's happened. So that's why I wrote that one.
I wrote, don't hurt us, help us, because I feel like the police, if they know deep down in their heart that they know that this is wrong, what their people are doing, they should like try to stand with us and not against us. And that's why I chose that.
Black Lives Matter. And the reason why I chose that one, because I thought, since my character is Jay, I was thinking, what would he write and how would that feel towards him? And 2, because me personally, I think my life mattered, like my Black life mattered. So that was one connection that me and my character had into this poster.
I have on my sign, hands up, don't shoot, with my handprints in red because, you know, Black people are being killed regardless of if they're innocent. And there have been more than one incident where a Black person has had their hands up, they've been unarmed, and they've still been murdered by a police officer. And so I felt like that was an important thing for me to bring up on my sign.
My sign was our skin is, well, can't see it. Okay, yeah. Our skin is not a target. I feel like I did this one because I felt like as we were born into this world, I feel like there was already a target on our backs just because of the color of our skin and the things that before we got here. I feel that that target shouldn't be on our backs because at the end of the day, we're still humans. We still have a life to live, and it shouldn't be cut short because you feel threatened or because you feel scared. I think it should matter. It should really matter.
Chose also to put no more silence on my sign, and I chose to put no more silence because we can't afford to be silent about what is going on in our communities, and that is why we are protesting now, because we have finally reached a boiling point that has been building up for so many years, and now we can't be quiet about what's going on if we expect a change.
On my sign, I wrote no justice, no peace. Now, I'm a pretty peaceful person, but what I realize is that right now, after all of these years of people not receiving justice for things that have occurred to them that have clearly been injustice and racially biased, I believe that there will be no peace with certain people if you cannot give justice to those that really deserve it. They didn't have peace in their hearts for these people that were killed wrongly, so sometimes there is no peace.
All right, thank you all so much for your insight, for your thoughts, for sharing with us in this safe space. I want to thank the Ensemble Theater and the Bold Reading Series for allowing you all to, for creating this space for you all to express yourselves. Thank you to the playwright who wrote a beautiful piece. And I just charge you all to take all of those signs that you just made, get your friends together, have them make some signs. You know, you all can create your own protests. I would love to see our Houston youth marching because you're marching for yourselves, you know. It's about future generations and what you all will have to endure, myself included. We're marching for ourselves at this point. So yeah, I don't know if someone from the ensemble is supposed to come on and close us out or if I'm closing us out. I guess not. So thank you.